Third and 20 Dynasty Podcast. I'm JT, joined by Frank and Lounis. No Jake today. He is out with
hamstring injury. It's tough out here.
Injury. Yeah, no Jake.
Yeah.
But we are 1 week and a half away from the draft. We're in NHL playoffs. I got my blue lights for the Rangers because they're 1-0. Also NBA playoffs. But yeah, refocusing us back on Dynasty. The Rangers, not the Rangers. The 49ers are looking to trade Trey Lance. We're going to do a mock draft later in the episode, a live mock draft. So if you're interested in joining the live mock draft, I think Frank's going to throw it in chat, the sleeper.
Yeah, throw it in. Just say you're interested in chat. I'll throw in the link.
Yeah.
But yeah, Trey Lance.
Trey Lance. 49ers are fielding calls on Trey Lance. Looking like teams are interested in trading for him. I've seen smoke screens about the Texans. The Falcons are another team potentially interested in trading for Trey Lance. It looks like the reporters are saying it basically comes down to price. I mean, the 49ers did just trade essentially 3 firsts to get Trey Lance. Obviously, I don't think at this point they're going to get that back now, but I'm sure they're not going to want to part with him for particularly cheap. Especially
what do you guys think his trade value is at this point?
I don't know, because like Brock Purdy's still hurt. Like they don't have, like they might not have a quarterback to start the season if they trade him, and they're I guess Sam Darnold.
The report was it's not necessarily San Francisco making the calls; it's that they've just been fielding them.
Yeah, I mean, if they get, it still has to be at least a first, right?
Is it?
I just think this is once again one of those scenarios where it's a lot closer to Lounis from like an NFL perspective. Teams see the obvious, y'all have too many quarterbacks here. They can't all play. Will you sell them? We'll give you a first. I think for the 49ers to actually make the move, it's going to have to be a nice package of picks, which I honestly don't think is going to happen in the short term, because NFL teams are probably not willing to invest what is needed on a guy who just hasn't really shown anything in the league yet. Like, you're going to give up multiple firsts for him at this point?
There's no way they get multiple firsts. The discussion, I was thinking it was maybe a late first, but I don't think you're getting it.
I just like, if we go back to I'll pull up recent trades of NFL quarterbacks. Can I do, is there NFL quarterback trade history? Because that would be easy if I could do it that way. But the players,
you have to remember some of the context around these trades too, though, because I think even so with Dynasty, but in the NFL as well, the quarterback market is, if a team is coming to you getting the quarterback, right, and the seller has the leverage, they go for astronomical prices. We saw Sam Bradford, when Sam Bradford was basically a confirmed scrub, go for a first-round pick in training camp because whoever's team starter got hurt. And they're like, shit, we need Sam Bradford. Send you a first. I mean, it's crazy, the price of these. Yeah, I think it's going to take something, at least, it's not just one first, unless it's a high-end first for Trey Lance. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm just going back to recent history. Matt Ryan was a 3rd-round pick. He was traded for. Carson Wentz was a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick, or 2 3rd-round picks. Going back even further, Sam Darnold was a 2nd and a 4th and a 6th. Now,
all those scenarios as well were those teams trying to sell that quarterback. That was not fuck yeah, we want Matt Ryan desperately. They wanted him, but it was not like a Deshaun Watson deal where they're in a bidding war.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz was a 1st and a 3rd.
It was the conditional first. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, just going back and looking at all these different trades, I think Trey Lance has to be a 1st-round pick. I mean, I objectively, I think he's a better prospect than Josh Rosen was. And Josh Rosen got traded for a 2nd and a 5th.
It's probably most similar to that Carson Wentz scenario, because that was when the Eagles had, when they had 2 quarterbacks. Apparently Purdy has the edge. It's just that injury throws the whole quirk in it. Are they really that confident in Sam Darnold? And I mean, we can also go into like how does this affect Sam Darnold, but let's go into Dynasty for Trey Lance first before we get into the
all right, yeah.
menial
So
stuff.
I'm gonna mix this with trades we're doing. Have you checked your inbox, Frank?
I did check my inbox. That was an interesting trade.
There's a lot more context to it than Trey Lance, but I did send Frank an offer for Trey Lance. I also, in the second, third, and 20 league, sent an offer for Trey Lance as well. I sent pick 114 because we're a 14-team league. So 202 in your typical 12-team league. I sent that just straight up for Trey Lance. But the person said that they were at work. He's actually a new member to our league. Welcome, by the way. So he said he was at work and he'd check on it later. But I think this is just buy opportunity for Trey Lance, because I mean, what I'm hearing is NFL teams are interested in Trey Lance, whether it's the 49ers or not. It sounds like he's still going to be an NFL starter, and at that point, like, I'm going to pay for the upside of Trey Lance because it's barely a first round pick at this point. If a first round, like a late first, for someone that's like still going, I think he's still in like the 4th or 5th round in startup drafts. If you look at that, and I think there's a lot of upside there with Trey Lance that I'm willing to take the risk.
I think it's a fine line because I'm not sure I love his price in a startup in that 4th round, but
yeah,
that doesn't necessarily mean in your league you're paying that price to acquire him.
Mm-hmm. No, especially if you see a team. I apologize. I have to keep on getting computer problems.
Yeah, Lounis, do you have a pair of headphones? What's going on here?
I came back out of work emails. I'm sorry. So in terms of the price you're trying to get him for, I think your best bet is if there's a team that's a contender that has him that may be looking for now, like win now pieces if they're unsure about him for next season. But I still like him overall as a buy. I think that 4th round startup price is a little bit rich. I would have to like look at it again and see who's around him. But I still like him as back because I do still think he's going to start a majority of the games for San Francisco this season. Like the report just came out about Brock Purdy about like, even with things apparently quote going well, I remember like you made the joke in the group chat, Frank. You said, yeah, things are going well. He might miss all of next season. Is it confirmed that it's a Tommy John surgery?
No, he didn't do surgery. He elected not to do surgery and rehab it some different way, I believe is what happened, but it's still going to take a long time for it to recover and rehab and everything. So, who knows when originally I think reports were said that he was supposed to start throwing in July. I don't know how true that's going to end up being in terms of Brock Purdy's timetable.
Now, let me ask you this. If the Niners do trade Trey Lance, we've all been anti Brock Purdy. Are you
I'm
now
still 100% anti Brock Purdy.
What about you, Lounis? Are you higher, like more than because it's I think consensus Brock Purdy's price jumps, but are you now going to be bought into Brock Purdy at that price, assuming Lance gets?
I actually think if they trade Trey Lance, that is the perfect time to start. Oh my God, that is the perfect time to trade Brock Purdy, because I think people are going to now all of a sudden think that this guy's going to be the long-term San Francisco starter, or at least for like a few years, and I could easily see them replacing him. Like, again, at the end of the day, he was drafted, 5th, 6th round?
He was Mr. Relevant, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
the last pick of the draft.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he was the last pick. I almost forgot. I just think this opens up a window where you could probably get, like, decent draft comp back for him or a decent player if someone's just really a believer in him.
Yeah, I can't.
So I think that would be, like, the perfect sell window.
I can't confidently say he's better than Sam Darnold. Like Brock Purdy, I can't confidently say Brock Purdy is better than Sam Darnold because we haven't seen Sam Darnold in that offense. And like what Brock Purdy did for San Francisco, like sure, the team won a bunch of games, but it wasn't like because of Brock Purdy that team won a lot of games. He was strictly okay. And in some cases, he was worse than just okay. So I'm not going to go out and buy a quarterback that I think is just meh. If that, like he might be getting replaced by Sam Darnold. That's just not a guy that I'm interested in going.
Well, yeah, we can get into Darnold as well. Jake's Darnold prediction is slowly but surely going to come to fruition here, where he was like, Sam Darnold's not dead. He might actually be the guy to have and invest in the offense. I don't think they're going to deal Lance. So I might take this opportunity to sell Darnold now and get tangible value for him.
Sell Darnold?
Well, okay, what's the price? Is Darnold
I don't know if
going
he's
to
really
creep
worth
towards
anything.
I feel like people would pay a third for him right now. Or he's starting to get in the conversation. He's starting to reach that conversation of third round.
Yeah, third.
If Lance gets dealt, then he probably goes up to a second, right? A late second.
Yeah.
He'd be the starter for until I guess Purdy comes back.
He gets into that second round value.
So yeah, maybe not necessarily now, but if that deal does go through, I might be willing to sell Darnold and be like and get that second round pick.
Darnold is like the same price as Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, so right now he's at an early third then.
This is mid to late.
I think generally speaking, to get the player to
you might have to pay a little extra.
Because like, are you realistically selling Brissett if you have him for a late third? Fuck no. You're just like, I'll keep him as my QB4.
I don't know. I have no interest in keeping Jacoby Brissett at this point. All right. Anything else we want to add on the Trey Lance? Oh, this coming in now. Anything else we want to add on Trey Lance?
Not really. It's still the funny thing is that the confidence has gone up on Lance, but the price is basically what it's been. It hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, I'm still in on Trey Lance. I'm now looking at what's next on our agenda, and that is Allen Robinson getting traded to the Steelers, which I think a couple years ago would have been a way bigger deal. This year, it kind of more seems the Rams are just like, we'll trade you Allen Robinson for the absence of Allen Robinson. So what are your thoughts, Frank? You're the Steelers fan here.
I think, that's more of the deal. I think that's how much the Rams wanted to get rid of him. It makes sense for the Steelers because if they believe that he's not washed or at least want to take the chance, they've invested nothing. They moved back like 20 or 30 spots in the 7th round, and they're only paying him like I think $5 or $6 million. I don't really know how that specifically works, by the way. The whole like, oh, the Rams, you can pay part of his contract and we'll pay the other. Like, how the fuck does that work?
Other leagues do that, NBA, NHL. You retain part of the salary.
Now, does that part of the cap hit? Like, are the Steelers only on the books then for like a $6 or $5 million cap hit? Because
if we want to go back to hockey real quick, that's how the Rangers were able to get Patrick Kane, one of the best players. They made a trade. It was a 3-way trade where the Coyotes, another just random team, held part of the salary. So if the Rangers actually got Patrick Kane, they'd be like way over the salary cap and wouldn't be able to play. But they had another team just retain part of his salary.
That sounds like it should be not allowed, but
it's part of your Fugazi. Yeah, it's part of your Fugazi. The cap is all fake. It is.
Because, I mean, the Steelers needed a veteran receiver. Deontay definitely stepped up, but Deontay is still annoyingly inconsistent and makes these wacky mistakes where he'll like just run backwards when we have a first down on a big third down. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Getting a guy that, okay, now I still think the Steelers draft someone. They brought in a bunch of receivers on visits. You don't have to rely on Calvin Austin to kind of come in and immediately play. But for fantasy-wise, I'm not investing in Allen Robinson at all.
Wasn't Joe in chat big on Calvin Austin?
Yeah.
I do want to bring something up because we know the Steelers had brought in a ton of receivers on during the pre-draft process, and I'm willing to bank that there's a good odd that there are good odds that if they spend like a day 2 pick on one, that receiver ends up being pretty good. If they do that, if they pick a receiver in the 2nd or 3rd round, or let alone first, but if there's that and then this trade, Deontay Johnson signed a 2-year extension last summer. Do you think that this is at all related to him and maybe their confidence in being able to extend him after that?
I think that's definitely part of the equation if they do. I think for that to happen, it would have to be a clear that this receiver is the best player on the Steelers board, because in my opinion, there's too many holes on the defensive line where I think we could easily draft like 3 defensive linemen, because that is a pressing issue for the Steelers. And we still need a safety. We could definitely use a tackle. Like, there's just so many a corner. We need corners as well. We just need so many other pieces. It's okay, yeah, if we're getting like a Pro Bowl level player, fine, pull the trigger. But I think it's more so for these mid-round picks, right? Maybe in the third or in the fourth round, they pick up a receiver, and now they have a solid group of 5 players that they really like. I think that's a much more likely scenario than at that pick 32 or in their second round pick, I think it's like 47, they go and take a receiver. It'd have to be like maybe if Josh Downs was there at 47, that might work.
He might be there too. He probably will be.
Dude, I think he goes earlier than that. I think he makes it off the board before pick 40.
I think I'm on JT's side. I think there's a pretty good shot at him being there at 47.
But back to Allen Robinson. He's like a late third currently on Keep Trade Cut. That's about where he's valued. Are either of you paying that price?
Probably not. I'm selling at that price.
Yeah, and then all right, let's compare.
If I can still get a third for Allen Robinson, I'm doing that any day of the week.
So he's an older player that I think a lot of people believe is washed. Compare him to a similar player in Adam Thielen. Which one are you doing heads up? Who would you rather have, Thielen or Allen Robinson?
Thielen pretty easily.
Oh man, you're taking 2 players that I'm just mass offering.
They're both old and like kind of washed, but I'll take Thielen easily, and I think opportunity is part to do with it. With the target share that he might be able to get in that offense with DJ Moore gone.
Yeah, he is about to get the 101 quarterback.
I think I would actually lean Allen Robinson there simply because, and this hurts to say. Allen Robinson is a little bit younger than you'd think, and if he has a decent season, he has leg room to stay in the league. I don't think Adam Thielen plays after this season. I think he's going to have a poor season, and he's out of the league.
Adam Thielen is 3 years older than Allen Robinson.
He is.
And I think whoever his agent is completely swindled the Panthers.
Yeah, I think both are washed. I just think if you look at both receiving rooms, you're going to have Allen Robinson, who he'll be behind 4 other players probably in targets between Deontay, Pickens, Freiermuth, and Najee Harris in a Kenny Pickett-led offense. Versus Carolina, like what's that receiving room looking like? It's him, Terrace Marshall,
DJ Chark.
I forgot about Chark. But yeah, still, I think there's more room for like a decent target share for Thielen. That's why I lean him. I think both are washed, but I'm looking at like, I don't know, do you want the guy who's 5th on the team in targets on that like Pittsburgh offense?
Chat's asking, what do you value Allen Robinson at?
If I were to put an honest price tag that I would consider Allen Robinson, it would probably be in the like early 4th on draft day. It also depends on how the late third actually shapes up this year, because those players are very determined by draft capital. I think in almost everyone's process, because some drafts you'll be able to nab a guy who was drafted at the very late 2nd or very early 3rd round, who just is the last dude on everyone's list, right? Like the D. Eskridge almost. Yeah, he was a 2nd round pick, but he was everyone's last ranked 2nd round pick. So yeah, he's slipping to the 3rd. If there's a player like that, I think I'd rather swing in the upside than Allen Robinson pretty easily. But if there's no players like that, then you're really throwing it up to like, okay, here's my 5th round rookie dart throw guy that I just happen to like this year, versus Allen Robinson, who like, okay, if one Steelers receiver gets hurt, now is he playable? I feel like it's similar risk for points and trade-off.
All right. It's enough time, I think, spent talking about Allen Robinson, who's essentially become a meme in the Dynasty community. But moving on to our next segment, which is tough because Jake isn't here, or our next part of the news and notes. Jake isn't here, and he's the big Tua guy. But Tua talked about his struggles with his concussions throughout the season and how he legitimately thought about retiring. Like, he was considering retiring, figured that playing was the right choice for him and his family, and that he's going to continue playing. But does that put any kind of a sense of panic for you guys if you have Tua, or is it kind of just he thought about it, he's done, or
I
like
think a
he's
little
over it,
bit.
we're good?
I think a
Okay.
little bit. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might sound like a complete idiot, but isn't it once you kind of already had a concussion or especially multiple, you're more susceptible to future concussions?
I've heard that. I don't know. I
I'm
can't
not
confirm it. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know.
here.
Do I look like the brain guy?
I've
look
heard
for
that, but I'm not a doctor.
That may or may not be true. Because I think I've heard it. Like I'm the same with you, JD.
I'll check Dr. Google here while you go.
Yeah, you listen to me on a weekly basis. You think I know shit about what goes on in brains?
Yeah, Frank, I'm not a doctor. No, what I'm worried about is like, say he gets another one next season. Like what happens then if he?
Yeah,
like,
it's dicey.
Because if he's already considering it, then like if he gets another, that's what would be kind of worried about. Like obviously I'm happy he's staying, and you're happy that he's decided to come back. But if you're considering that at the end of next season, like if he suffers a concussion in the next season or two, what kind of happens then? So I think that's where I would get worried.
So, virtuahealth.org says that the number of your concussions you've had is a significant factor because the brain is more vulnerable to injury. After sustaining a concussion, it may take significantly less force to also cause a future concussion. Then there's also the length in between your concussions, what kind of force caused concussions. They're all the factors.
So it is easier to have another concussion once you've had multiple. Yeah. So that's my concern. Yeah, he's already like a small dude. Like if he gets one or two more, if he was already considering it, I don't know.
So
that would be a worry.
What is the tangible? Oh, okay. I'm slightly panicked. What does that change his price in Dynasty, right? So we looked at the startup drafts before. He was going in the mid third. I imagine that ADP is a little bit all over the place. It just averages out to the mid third. Let's keep it there, right next to Saquon. Like how much lower is he going for you? Are you like, oh shit, I'll just shop him off for Devontae Adams and say, give me the points, I'm a contender, I'll get the points somewhere else? Or are you like, I'll transition him into a Javonte, another like risky-esque young player?
Trading a starting quarterback for a wide receiver, I feel like I'm not super into, but I've already thought Tua's been overpriced, so I'm willing to move off him for that kind of similar price. But like I'd go more so the route of picks or using Tua to then upgrade or downgrade into a similar, what I consider to be a similar level quarterback, like Tua for Trey Lance, for example. I'd do that.
Yeah,
I'd get whatever on top.
I was gonna say
Tua has to be worth more than Trey Lance, even
with who you'd rather.
Are you taking Lance over Tua?
He is right now, Lounis? I think, yeah. What's up?
You're taking Lance over Tua?
After that, I think so, yeah. The concussion part scares me.
Man, I don't know. I don't think I can't go that far.
I think here's another question. Would you rather have Tua or like Jared Goff?
Tua easily.
I think I still lean Tua, but it's like it's a question. If I knew, like, I don't know, because the retirement stuff, I wasn't expecting to really hear that, and that has to be kind of concerning.
All right, Lounis is out of here.
Yeah, we
can see you, buddy.
Peace, Lounis.
I don't know, dude. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction to Tua, because that's literally dropping him like 3 rounds.
Yeah, no, I'd still, from a pure value standpoint, I'd rather Tua over Trey Lance. But for who I think is going to give me more fantasy points over their career, I kind of still want to work on what I'm seeing with Trey Lance. I do think it is an overreaction at this point where it's like he's talked about it. Obviously, if you're going to have that 2 or 3, however many concussions he did have in the season, one of them where he was doing the fencing and everything and he was really out of it. obviously
That one was
that's
brutal.
yeah, obviously that's scary, and you're gonna have to consider, like what's going on, and your health is obviously paramount. But at the end of the day, like he's in a position to make like life-changing, family-changing money. It kind of was a bit of a hoax isn't the word I'm looking for. It's not typical for that to happen in today's NFL. I don't know what the correct word is for that.
Yeah, he was getting those slams, and the ground was really causing a lot of the concussions.
Yeah, it's not typical
Now,
for that to
Hear
happen.
me out here.
Uh-huh.
And please tell me if I'm crazy, because I might
Okay.
be, right?
You are crazy, but I'll hear you out.
I am more confident in Tua in this whole scenario because this information came from Tua and not like the reporters. It wasn't like all of a sudden I hear Ian Rappaport, Tua's considering retiring. And Tua does not address the situation, right? That would have me a lot more worried. If it's like Tua coming out, yeah, man, I was considering retirement. Of course you were. Like, you were getting your head smashed week in and week out. I would consider retiring too. Like,
oh wait, is Liv still on the pod with us, but just in this like?
Yeah, my connection's been terrible.
I don't hear
this
you,
episode.
Lounis. I do.
Yeah,
do not see you
I'm looking at Lounis on the YouTube, but he's not in here.
Yeah, Lounis, you want to like leave and come back because
you not hear
this
me?
is weird.
I see him talking to us too. Hey, Lounis. Also, thank you, chat. Anomaly is what I was looking for. That was an anomaly. Yeah, I get what you're saying though about about the beat reporters and everything. If there's like a whole hit piece, probably isn't the right word there either, but like expose, if there's an expose on like Tua's return back and the struggles he's been through or whatever, then I'd be like, all right, like maybe I should be a little more concerned about Tua. But him being upfront and honest about the whole situation has me more confident as well, I would say.
Then all right, last segment. Let's touch on this quickly. Jalen Hurts contract extension. I don't think it does anything to his dynasty value. Highest paid NFL player. Congrats to Jalen. Definitely earned it.
Yeah, I'll never forget his mom commented on one of you and Steve's YouTube videos.
Dude.
Before Jalen Hurts blew up. So great call by you guys, because you said he was good and he's ended up
yeah, unfortunately that didn't transition to me investing in him in Dynasty all too much.
Yeah, well, win some, we'll lose some. Yeah, obviously great for Jalen Hurts. I think it's just another resetting of the market. You're gonna have Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, those guys get paid even more. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Lamar now too, because in some aspects you could say he's better than Jalen Hurts in terms of like he's got the MVP, but Jalen Hurts has led a team to the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar gets a similar type deal. Yeah, I have nothing else to add about the Jalen Hurts thing, though. I think, yeah, it does exactly what we thought. Welcome back, Lounis.
Yeah, we can tell you're a fucking mess today, Lounis.
I do have a fan on chat. That's why my green screen is blowing behind me.
All right, let's get this mock going, though. Okay. So, all right, let me.
I'm in the sleeper. Yeah, I don't know where to pick.
All right, am I good to pick a spot now?
Yeah, sure. Hold on a second. What is going on? All right, I'm pasting the link of the mock in the chat. If you want to join, hit that link. Pick whatever spot you want. I'm going to fill in. So whenever we're good to go, I'll pick whatever spot remains.
Lounis is picking 1-3. I kind of want to pick 1-4 because I just know whatever Lounis wants, I probably don't want. But 1-3 is an interesting spot.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, whoa. I would join, but I have no idea who the rookies are. I mean, listen, you can if you really want to, but you don't have to.
I'm gonna copy this and put it in the how do I copy the full link? All right, I'll just do it on my phone. I'm gonna put it into the second, 3rd, and 20 group, or the 3rd and 20 group, whichever one.
So yeah, we will we'll get the mock going underway in a couple of minutes. I guess we'll do 3 rounds because that's what I have selected. So I was doing my big board. I'm trying to finalize it so next week we're going to go through all of our big boards, have it all ranked out and everything for pre-draft. Probably update it after the NFL draft. Also, we will be streaming during the draft. If you're interested in listening to some average at best takes about the draft players during the draft, as well as some draft day shenanigans.
Yeah,
please tune in.
I already have my Amazon pad. It's behind me, actually.
The first thing I will talk about, because I'm not finalized on this, is the end of first round, probably from like pick 8 or 9 up until about pick 13 or 14. I feel like right now, pre-draft, I have a lot of players extremely close in value around there. And I find it really difficult to differentiate, who do I want to draft? Quentin Johnston or Zach Charbonnet? Or who do I want to draft? Josh Downs or Dalton Kincaid, right? Like, these are, especially pre-draft, legitimately difficult decisions that I don't really know how to rank these players. So I'm curious to hear how you guys, if you do have opinions on this part of the draft, rank these players. Link didn't work on Sleeper. Shit. Wait, no, I see you in here.
Yeah, he's in here. Oh, well, he probably just joined from the YouTube chat, I would assume. Oh, never mind. No, it worked. Okay. I'm picking at 105 right now, but I feel like that's a basic area to be picking at. Maybe I move back.
105 was the other pick I was considering picking.
I've moved back to 109.
What do you guys think about this late first, early second?
Well, I want to tip my picks. I think it's an okay spot. I think compared to previous years, I would rather have the previous years. Maybe not last year specifically, although, I mean, I guess looking back, Chris Olave probably would have been going around there, and I'm sure you're happy with picking him there. But if you go back like further into its previous drafts, like that's where you're getting like the DeAndre Swifts and Justin Herberts. That's where you're getting, and even further, a little further in that area, the T. Higgins and Justin Jeffersons. The one after that, that's like Devontae Smith. What else was big names going around there?
Jalen Waddle was going around.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle was around that 109.
Well, I mean, yeah, 2021 and 2020 were fantastic classes. 2021, I don't think the early second was as good though. Because not saying it was bad, because like Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore were right around there.
Yeah. Then you had like Trey Sermon and Michael Carter.
Yeah, Michael Carter. Like I think that this draft, I'd take that. Obviously, hindsight is 2020, but this second round I think is better than that second round. At least the beginning part.
Yeah, it might. I don't know, because those were receivers that I was like high on, like Rondale Moore. Rashad Bateman was sometimes slipping into the beginning of the second.
I think it's what's his name? Josh Downs is just as good of a prospect as Rondale Moore, if not better. I think his floor scenario is literally being what Rondale Moore was in that draft class. And I think there's a lot more reasons why the consensus would be in on Josh Downs compared to Rondale Moore, right? Rondale Moore was kind of a quirky prospect, just didn't have a vertical element in his game that much. Whereas Josh Downs, I mean, he's used all over the field. He was kind of a production monster.
What
do y'all think of the negative press Stroud has been getting the last few days? Slide possible?
I think smokescreen. I love this guy.
I've seen it, but
this guy is awesome.
So wait, first focusing on Stroud. I think smokescreens. I think teams trying to cool off from potentially moving up with the Texans. Trying to convince the Texans not to take Stroud potentially. Because I think as far as like we're considering like Stroud versus Zach Wilson, for example, I'd much rather have CJ Stroud. But if we're comparing Stroud to like his predecessor at Justin Fields, I don't know. I think I might rather just have Justin Fields than CJ Stroud.
Like Justin Fields knowing him as right now, or
not knowing Justin Fields as right now. Justin Fields coming out. Yeah, okay. I like Stroud.
I don't know. I think there is a potential that Stroud could slide a little bit, but I don't really care all that much. I will say it's weird that the one thing I find weird is that he signed up or said he was going to do the Manning camp and then ditched the Mannings. It's like, dude, I feel like that's rule number one of being a quarterback is like you just respect the Mannings, right? Like,
sure. Although I think your boy Quinn Ewers has officially beat out Arch Manning at Texas.
Yeah, well, Arch Manning's like he was not going to start.
Yeah, he's a true freshman. Yeah, but what was I going to say? I think we could start pretty soon. We do have 3 picks that could be filled.
Okay. Where should I go?
There's no Watson in this draft. Last year's late first, early second clears. I'm just going back to comment.
Great comment.
Like maybe, I don't know. I feel like can you truly say that without like knowing anything about Josh Downs or those guys yet?
I'm a 111 merchant. I'll take 111.
Okay. I was really hoping you wouldn't pick in front of me, so that's good.
So what do we want to do with these last 2 spots? Anyone in chat have an idea? I mean, we can just auto pick them. I feel like that's kind of weird.
Are you able to auto pick them, or do they just auto pick themselves?
That's a great question.
I don't know how
I'm not sure. It would be nice if I could plop them in there. We could just put it in whatever the consensus 80 pick is there,
or just have like chat vote on a player.
Oh shit! Here we go. We got one last spot. Come on, one more person. We text Jake. Can we get Jake in here?
I don't know if he's free, but do we know anyone? Oh, I mean, we have friends.
Well, no, didn't he say it was like a 2-hour? Like it should be close to being done, and then he can maybe just do it off his phone.
I'm not gonna bank on Jake.
I actually kind of like that idea. Let's just vote the pick.
Yeah, vote the pick. All right, the 110 is the 3rd and 20 YouTube chat team pick.
All right, here we go. I'm starting the draft. Lappy, okay. You are up. Okay, I'm gonna try and figure out the commands on the fly if there's ways to like.
Yeah, there might be a random
this and stuff.
There might be a random player going at 110.
So if I pause the draft, can y'all still go?
I'd assume no.
I think so.
Let me see. Can you?
I think a user can still pick.
Because ideally, I'd just like there to be no timer we can pick.
That wasn't an option for the settings.
You know, it might have been. I honestly didn't check. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Let's do like 5 or 10 minutes, just so that people don't feel rushed. Okay, never mind. Let's get this on the road. All right, first pick, Bryce Young over Bijan. Wow. Is that a? Ooh. I've actually been thinking about this because I really like Bryce Young. Is that too much of a bait?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you take Bijan and Young look back because I think Bijan's just like where generational gets used a lot, thrown around. But I truly think Bijan is just like a tier above basically anyone else in the running back position as soon as he steps on the field. Whereas Bryce Young, I think I've said this before, it's kind of been my talking points. I just think Bryce Young, like he steps on the field, like he's not better than the Justin Herberts, Joe Burrows, Lamars and Kylers of the world, I think. I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's elite. So at that point, he's going to be further back.
I would take Bijan, but I don't think the Bryce Young pick is crazy at all. I think there's a case for both, but I would lean Bijan for the reasons JT said. So for this pick, I'm between Stroud and Richardson. I think those should be 3 and 4. Those two. I'm going to go, which I maybe would be a surprise to JT. Even though I love Anthony Richardson, I think he has the higher ceiling. I'm going to go CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I think at 103 in our last draft, I picked Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two cool on him.
Huh? I obviously would rather have Stroud, but at the time, that's when like it was right after the combine and
yeah, where he's getting a ton of. And so if I was in 104 in this situation, I would, like I said, take Richardson because he would be next on my board. I understand someone wanted to take the risk on him. Well, I don't even think it's a risk. I understand people wanted more sort of wait to see where he ends up going in the draft. Because I saw Adam Schefter put out that thing like QBs aren't going to go 1 through 4. And I don't really expect that either. But I'm interested to see how far some certain guys fall. I think they all end up going in the first like 15 picks, but we'll see where. But yeah, I mean, I love Stroud, so I'm going with him.
Well, yeah, 104 right now is kind of the juicer pick because you just get the one who falls. I do have Bryce Young and Bijan in the same tier at the top of the draft. I've been because here's the one thing I'm pondering is in the 2020 draft, I was adamant JT over Joe Burrow. And in retrospect, I don't really think you're unhappy either way, but the value pick would have been Joe Burrow if you could go back and do it again. You're going to pick Joe Burrow.
After the first year, I don't know if it would have been. But now.
Yeah. Ultra hindsight. Yeah. Bijan is a better prospect than Jonathan Taylor. And I think you can make the argument that Joe Burrow was a better prospect than Bryce Young. Although I think it's hard to kind of adamantly state like Joe Burrow was miles ahead. Like,
I wouldn't say miles ahead, but I don't think it's like arguably like, I think it's just, I don't know anyone who would make the case for Bryce Young being a better prospect than Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had like one of the best QB college seasons.
I know. Listen, I think Joe Burrow was a better, just because like by the time the draft came out, all the knocks on Joe Burrow really didn't matter. It was like, yeah, did you see what he just did? And it's like, he's big, he's got a good head on his shoulders, like he's a leader, this, that, and the other, right? Like whatever. I still think Bryce Young is fantastic. I do think that Bryce Young is like up there with the Kylers and the Joe Burrows, and like he is the number one pick to me.
He is, but I do think the size concerns are legit. And people are going to say like Kyler's more built than Bryce Young, but these are repeated talking points. I just do like Bryce Young a lot, but I think Joe Burrow is definitely kind of a different tier. I find it funny that it's just we've gotten to the point I'm getting shit on for not respecting Anthony Richardson enough and picking Stroud over him. I never thought there'd be this thing.
Yeah, listen, I completely changed my tune on him. I'll give you credit.
I still love Anthony Richardson. I think he should be a top 5 draft pick. I would have zero issue taking him at 103. It was a tough decision between those two. I really like Stroud. I think Richardson is the higher ceiling, but I think Stroud is the higher floor.
Yeah, I don't really have any problem with any of the picks so far. I've just been holding off on my picks so that we could catch up.
Yeah, a lot of picks, man.
JSN went at 5. Don't hate it.
Good value. I do think right now, in my opinion, the community might be drinking a Kool-Aid on JSN a little bit. I am curious to see what happens in the NFL draft. That being said, I would pick him at 5, and I like him as a prospect a lot. I would not be surprised if Zay Flowers and another receiver go off the board before JSN. I don't think that
would be
anything crazy in the range of outcomes to happen.
It does sound like from like the problem is I think the mock drafters, the NFL mock drafters, they kind of are an echo chamber, and it's just everyone's hearing the same things, but who's actually saying the things that they're hearing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I've got my ear to the ground or whatever, and they just hear they have their ear to the ground, and then it turns out that it's just random rumors that one person started and it's not true. But I have been seeing that the NFL like GMs and whatnot might be lower on JSN than our Dynasty community.
Yeah, I still think he's my easy wide receiver 1. I would have taken him there at 5, and then I also agree with the Gibbs pick at 6. I think the top 6 is all correct. Who went 7th here?
Quentin Johnston. I think that's fine.
Yeah,
if you're a Quentin Johnston guy, you get him as the wide receiver 2 at pick 7.
He's my wide receiver 1. Yeah, getting him at 7. Yeah. I like.
Frank, where is he for you? Is he 1, 2, or 3?
Quentin Johnston. I think right now I'd have him at I think I have him at 3 over Josh Downs, but Josh Downs to me is really close to Quentin Johnston. I haven't fully decided which one I have at 3 and 4.
I have Johnson at 3 as well.
All right, and then the last pick before I'm about to pick was Will Levis.
That's what I was going to bring up. Would either of you take Will Levis at 7 there? Like say he gets the top 10. I know. I mean, none of us really are, but
I think the dream Will Levis scenario.
Top 10.
I think the dream scenario for him is going 4 to the Colts. I think that's where the Colts pick. That's like his we have like such a tie pick, and even then, I still really like Will Levis. I'm kind of just out.
I've been warming up on Will Levis a little bit because I think he's a better athlete than I gave him credit for. But I also don't like the fact that I feel like I never really saw anything off platform from Levis, given that underrated athletic ability, right? Like, take Daniel Jones last year, right? Daniel Jones, one of the reasons I think that he had a ton of success is that outside of the pocket, off platform, he was much better than any other Daniel Jones that existed throughout his entire career, college and the pros. And that added a huge element to that offense. Like, can Will Levis kind of do something like that? Because I think right now
would you trade 108 for Daniel Jones though? Like, I wouldn't trade 108 for Daniel Jones.
No. Also,
I think
Robert
that's his
Miller.
value, though.
Yeah.
I think that's his value.
I'm about to draft, by the way, so you might. I don't know what the deal is with the next pick.
Here. I don't hate that Will Levis at 108 at all.
I don't know what's about to happen with this next pick, but I'm drafting here.
I'm cracking up a Robert Miller comment.
Can you override that? Because now we have Titus Swing going one day.
Yeah, that was a crazy pick.
Oh, now we have Tavian. I think you have to pause it first and then do it.
Okay, I can just change the player. I can just change the player.
Okay.
All right, chat.
Who are we taking at 110, chat?
Also wanted to say, JT, I agree with that pick. And Robert Miller, I hope you enjoyed your dark.
Yeah, I was between. All right, so if we're doing a chat pick here, I was between Addison and Zay Flowers, although Charbonnet was not far behind either of those guys. So
the chat is gonna vote on it. If I had a vote, I'd vote Zay Flowers here.
Yeah, I
says Flowers.
Honest, I don't know how to make a poll.
And just type in chat who you want, and we could go.
Would you consider Downs here?
Well, Addison's gone. I took Addison P to R. So, no, I wouldn't take Downs here. I'd be between Flowers, Charbonnet, and who am I missing? Oh no, I was talking about. I was picking Addison ahead of those guys. Yeah, I'd be between Flowers and Charbonnet here. I think. Chat, we have 2 Flowers. No one else. We have 2 Flowers to 1 Charbonnet now. I could see the argument for both.
I think Addison at 109 is a really good pick.
That's a great pick.
Yeah,
I like Charbonnet. Haven't been able to like him as much as everyone else does.
Charbonnet, if he gets second round, Flowers otherwise. I don't know. I think I might have been wrong about Flowers. Everyone seems to love him. And now everyone's saying that Flowers might not make it out of like the top 15.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Although I will say it was. I don't know what the. Maybe I could look this up on like a sports book. I don't know what the betting odds are for like the NFL draft as to what wide receivers are going in the first round. But I just think based on like what happened with free agency, where like Juju and Jacoby Myers were the best free agents, the players that are coming up that are going to have to get paid soon.
Real quick, Tash and Appy, are you guys serious? I mean, if you are, I listen.
Hendon Hooker. I'm not drafting him here.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
But I would take the over on however many receivers. All right, here, look. Yeah, position totals. Total wide receivers drafted in the first round, over 3.5 is the line at -115. I take the over 4 wide receivers.
Is this tight end premium or not? Yes, tight end premium.
I think I would take the under.
Yeah, true. Luke wants Hooker, but thinks Richardson's out of the league in 4 years. All right, so I think that the consensus was Flowers with Charbonnet as a close second.
Well, I mean, based on 2 people in the chat, Hendon Hooker is there as well. Yeah, all right, Zay Flowers. So then you're up, Frank.
Oh man, this is annoying. This is a tough pick now.
I guess Lappy might take the Hooks at 201 then.
I'm guessing you're between Charbonnet and Josh Downs.
It would be Charbonnet, Downs, A-Chain, Kincaid. Those are the 4 players that I think are all valid around here. And I am going to pick Zach Charbonnet. How do I?
The line on total quarterbacks drafted in the first round is over 4.5. I'm going to take the under. Just looking at this now.
Just solid, getting the RB3. in at pick 11. I don't know. I'm close to picking up Josh Downs though. There,
Luke in chat said Hendon Hooker is gonna have a better career than Anthony Richardson. Isley says holding a clipboard. I think they're both going to. Oh, okay. We have Skull taking Dalton Kincaid, our first tight end off the board.
It's Hooker's 5 years older than Anthony Richardson, I think.
5's a stretch, but he's older.
It might be 4.
I think Hendon Hooker is 23 or 24, and Anthony Richardson's like barely 21.
I'm kidding with 4.
I think Kincaid's a solid pick there at the end of the first.
Anthony Richardson age.
Especially if he gets that draft capital.
It might actually be 5 years, Lounis.
That's what I thought.
Anthony Richardson's May 20, 2002, which is crazy. That's wild that's going to be an NFL quarterback. Hendon Hooker is January 13th, 1998.
So 4 or 5?
4. 4.5.
4. Yeah. Okay.
A little less than 4.5.
Oh, you were gonna go. I don't know how to say his name. Abanaconda or something.
Real.
Abanaconda.
I can say it.
I'm surprised that Jalen Hyatt hasn't been brought up yet at all.
Abanaconda. I think.
Have you guys gone to?
I like Jalen Hyatt. I have Hyatt on my big board. I had him right around like pick 15, 16, 14.
I was gonna say I think I'm leaning him here, and I'm gonna go with him here.
Oh, we have our second tight end off the board. Washington.
Yeah, I just think I would rather take Michael Mayer over.
For some reason,
Hyatt.
he was super low in this wide receiver listing here.
Jalen Hyatt.
I just go down and find him. Yeah.
Listen, I can understand why the community isn't huge on Jalen Hyatt, and I don't disagree with a lot of the metrics that people are pointing at, right? The fact that he kind of just was a deep ball merchant, the fact that offense was fucking weird and not like an NFL offense. But the fact of the matter is that he is just being so crapped on by everyone that like the middle of the second round is just too far for Jalen Hyatt to fall, especially because I think there's a damn good chance he can go at the very end of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll end up being a second round pick, but I thought at first he was a little bit overrated, but then it's just completely flipped so much since the combine that now I think he's become, like you said, like slightly almost underrated.
I've seen rookie mocks where he's going at the end of the second round. Like that is bonkers to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I think he'll be a mid-second round pick.
I agree. The fact that like his film isn't insane. I actually think his film is underrated. And like analytically speaking, he's weird and he matches kind of just a bust profile. He's one of these dudes that is better for NFL teams than fantasy teams, but
I do agree with that.
He's way too slept on. This has been a good draft, excellent selections. What do you think the best pick was, Skull? 112?
We have 3 tight ends going in the first 16 picks. I don't know the last time that's happened.
I like it. Oh, Tash took Hooks.
Yeah, Tash going Hendon Hooker.
I will say he would get a bump, right, if he does go in the first round.
100%.
There's no way he actually goes in the first round. You guys actually think there's a legit shot?
No, I wouldn't take him in the first round if I'm an NFL team. But
I think he goes in the second. I think he goes in the second. I wouldn't be surprised.
He goes late second.
It depends though, because apparently he's been completely knocking out the interviews that he's been on, and that he had
years older than these other guys.
Okay, whatever. He's been knocking them out, and that similarly at the Senior Bowl, even though he didn't play, he was talking to a lot of managers and a lot of the teams, and they apparently liked him there as well.
Yeah, and quarterback, I'm not nearly concerned about.
At the same time, he played really well last year. I mean, he torched some good defenses.
Mm-hmm. I'm cracking up with this one comment in the chat. He's older than Lamar. They can negotiate contracts together.
Oh, that's just an absolutely brutal. It's true. Absolutely brutal.
Brandon Weeden walked.
Sean Tucker.
Okay, hold on. We got Zach Evans, Sean Tucker. Man, if this is a legitimate draft, man, you just have to have some balls to make those picks at this point.
I loved the Mims pick.
Yeah, Marvin. That's
208.
the 108 drafter is that Shredrock? I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing.
No, but they've done a good job.
Name. Yeah, that's just kind of to me been like a value spot, just taking the players that kind of fall to them.
This is a tough spot for me now because I really wanted Sean Tucker or Marvin Mims, and not getting either puts me in a spot where I think I'm gonna go out on a limb here between him and a chain. I think I'm gonna go Tank. Give me the Tank Bigsby.
Are we allowed to let me pick A-Chain, or is the chat gonna pick him but right before me? Can we trade, chat?
Yeah, wait, chat. Let's hear chat out. Who are we picking at 210?
How about Tillman? Or Mingo? Mingo's been a lot of hype recently.
My vote for 210 was, I think, a chain because that's who I was between. Keandre Miller, Kendra, sorry. Keandre Miller plays for the.
How about Tyjae Spears, or maybe a tight end?
What's the tight end? Oh, it's what's his name from Oregon, right? Oregon State.
Roshan.
A-Chain,
we got to vote for Roshan.
Dontavian Wicks.
Dude, we're not drafting Dontavian Wicks here.
Like the Wick. My vote. These guys are good.
The ordering they have on Sleeper is crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just a fault in their system right now.
Light the Wick. That's hilarious.
All right, we're kind of all over the place at this pick. Keandre Miller, A-Chain, Roshan Johnson. Do we have any wide receivers?
We want Wicks.
I think right now the receiver pick would be A.T. Perry, Tillman, Mingo, because Marvin Mims went. Those are at least the highest guys on my board. I know that that Nebraska Trey Palmer, I know a lot of people like. I just feel like at this point, A-Chain.
Remember, I'm guilty of this, but remember when Kayshon Boutte was like a.
Boutte might go here. I think that there would be people that would draft Boutte here.
I was thinking about Boutte in my next third round pick. I probably won't take him, but he came across my mind.
All right, so who are we putting in here? We've had everyone vote for different players, and then Tash and Lappy are.
All right, my vote's for A-Chain because kind of like
right, I'll put A-Chain in here.
All right,
it's a rigged vote.
It's tough for you though because I'm interested to see who you pick here then instead.
I don't know who I'm going to pick here because I would have this would have been a dream scenario for A-Chain to fall to me at 211. Now I'm kind of grumpy.
Cedric Tillman.
I think I will take.
I love this guy. Jay Sen shouldn't go in the first if he goes to Green Bay. Watson's going to take too many targets. I want to pick a guy and just defend him as hard.
Oh my god!
I might be Trey Lance. Trey Lance might be my guy for that. Oh no, Baker. I'm that guy for Baker. I should go in different YouTube chats.
You were outvoted. Dontavian Wicks is on the board. You can scoop him up at 301.
That's true. He can get him in 2 picks.
Oh man, I don't know. This is a tough pick.
Listen, am I losing Frank here?
To me, Spears is right there as well.
Who did you say, Spears?
Wait, was I lagging?
No, you're back.
You're lagging for me, but I don't know if it was me or you.
Any consideration to Raheem Jarrett?
No, I'm not. I think Raheem Jarrett probably goes like 6th round to undrafted.
Yeah.
The Levis hate is starting to sound like the Rosen over Josh Allen and Haskins / Drew Lock over Danny Dimes hate. I will say, I think it's more similar to Danny Dimes because a lot of people didn't like the fact that Danny Dimes was just kind of like a pure drop back game quarterback. And like, let's be real here. He did have rushing production, but it's not pretty. When Daniel Jones is carrying the rock, it does not look good. It looks like he's going to fumble every time he touches the ball, but he's like low key pretty good.
It's a tough watch.
So I can understand it.
I'm on the clock.
Especially
Keyshawn
in a
finally
fantasy
went through it,
draft
too.
where it's like, are we going to draft Danny Dimes at 104?
I'm going to go with... I'm leaning Trey Palmer.
You're going to take Trey. I think Trey Palmer is a bait right now by the community. I think he's just kind of like a deep ball merchant. And
Chris in chat is giving Luke some platinum level support. Looking at these guys.
Actually, no. I'm gonna go Tajay Spears.
I think that's
Tajay Spears.
Yeah.
Look at this little run on running backs. I think Tajay Spears is good value in the early third.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm liking this class. Let's just delete the Wicks pick because that's a meme pick. Screw you, Labby.
No, you picked Wicks.
Where is Dontavian Wicks going in typical ADP? I have no clue.
Oh, like undrafted. Where'd he go? Virginia Tech?
No. University of Virginia.
Oh, okay, Virginia.
Dude, he wants Wicks.
I mean, listen, he's not like completely horrible. He's just not in the third round. Listen, I will admit if Wicks is a good NFL player, you guys have the biggest brain, and I called it, or you called it. Excuse me.
No, we'll take credit for it.
I am sleeping. Tillman there. I like that pick a lot, Cedric Tillman. I think he's a guy that's being slept on. Just a smidge, not a ton. It's just weird because he was hurt. I think the past 2 years he got hurt. But when he played very well. Definitely more of a like prototypical receiver than Hyatt was as well.
Yeah.
All right, Tash, who are you going here? He's much better than you're giving credit for. I don't buy that.
Tash, what do you think about his game? What were your thoughts on watching the film when you watched it?
Jake Haener? Yikes.
Who's your pro comp for Wicks?
I do like Haener, though. Haener's a good little player.
You just like Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. That's the pro comp.
He's got great hands. Tash stopped knowing the prospects after pick 2. I think he stopped knowing them after pick 103.
I was gonna say,
I think you're giving him too much credit.
All right, last time I was in this spot, two players got picked right ahead of me that I really liked. Right now, I have 2 players that I think I really like in this third round. So hopefully they don't get stolen.
Oh, we had another quarterback go.
Yeah,
yeah, Jake Haener out of Fresno. He's a fun player to watch. It's just like
it's hard to judge him. I remember staying up late watching some of those Fresno games. I mean, the quality of defense wasn't great.
Right. I like Haener. I think he's a good little player, but it's just like his pro comp is freaking Taylor Heineke. Well, I don't want to freaking draft Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke never works out. Like, no one drafted Taylor Heineke. That's why Taylor Heineke's Taylor Heineke.
Stetson Bennett.
I think it's similar to where, like, when people try to go chasing the receiving backs, it's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to draft this random 5th round pick receiving back because my pro comp for him is Tariq Cohen. It's like, dude, the chances of that working out are so slim. You're usually just lighting picks on fire. At least with the QB, you have the huge upside that if he somehow improves and wins the starting job. Because I saw It was Lappy, I think. It was the dude who's picking first. He did this strategy, and was it the second, third, and 20 league he did this? Where he just drafted a crap ton of QBs at the end of the draft and in free agency, and he hit on Purdy because it was one of them. His entire taxi squad was backup rookie QBs.
That was a good strat.
Real quick, the chat's been hilarious right now. Ash's pro comp for Wicks is LeBron James. And then,
wait.
And then Bennett's a winner, boys. These guys find their way onto the field.
Yeah, we're getting off the rails with some of these. But I'm going to be honest, you guys might hate this pick. I love this pick right here. I'm taking Xavier Hutchinson. I'm looking at his stats. This was a putrid Iowa State offense. I remember they played Iowa, and I want to look up the score. I think it was like,
what was it, 6-3?
Something like that, right? I'm pulling it up right now, so for accuracy. But I'm going to tell you guys the distribution of targets for the Iowa State football game. And it was 10-7. Iowa State won 10-7. But in the 2022 season, Xavier Hutchinson had 107 catches. It's not giving me targets right now, actually.
Holy crap.
He had 107 catches. The next highest receiver, wide receiver, had 32. Now, wow. Jalen Noel, the running back, did have 61 catches, but those were obviously dumps and whatever. But he had 107 catches last year. People are sleeping on Xavier Hutchinson.
Yeah, that's absurd. Like, I guess for reference, right, a guy like Josh Downs in a high-powered North Carolina offense, I think had 94 catches.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also a crap ton. Like,
yeah. Can I do? I don't have targets on this. Let me see if I can find a different site.
Trey Palmer falling to the 4th round.
All right, who are we thinking here, chat? Who do we want? Anyone got any ideas?
Who'd you guys vote?
I'm surprised Jonathan Mingo, with all the hype I've been seeing him get on Twitter today, has lasted this long. I like Mingo. I watched his film the other day. I'm kind of a Mingo truther.
All right, players I'm looking at here. I don't hate Deuce Vaughn.
Oh, Deuce Vaughn?
I don't hate him. He's small, like super small. But at this point, we're looking for players to get on the field.
I'm good on passing.
What about A.T. Perry?
Mo Ibrahim for running back. I'm just going position group by position group.
Mo Ibrahim is interesting. Same thing with Chris Rodriguez. To me, it's like, I don't think the NFL is going to respect them, but I feel like they're just good players. Rashee Rice, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I remember him getting a bunch of hype. Rashee Rice.
Christian Watson killing it next year requires no hope, just patience.
I think Christian Watson. I love this guy. I love this. Not mentioned anything. You're not sniping me. Who the hell do you want here, Skull? Oh, you want Musgrave, don't you, Skull?
Oh, Musgrave would be very. I forgot about. I'm sure Sam Laporta is probably up there too. Then,
right? Trey Palmer.
Did Cedric Tillman go yet?
Tillman did go. Yes.
Okay.
All right, we can take Trey. That's the first non-meme suggestion in a while from you guys.
I like the Trey Palmer pick. I had the worst draft.
Okay. Wait, oh yeah, you did go. Yeah, there's Cedric Tillman. Fine.
Which of my picks did Lappy? Which of my picks did you like the least?
I'm in running backs. That's why. I was gonna say, where the hell is Mingo? I'm taking Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss. So interesting thing about Mingo. He's one of those dudes that probably projects to be more of a slot receiver at the next level, but I like the fact that he can. I think he can play both outside and in the slot, which to me in the NFL these days is like exactly where you want to be. He's athletic as fuck, and I just think he's a good football player. The stats just don't really show to me how good he can be and how good he was on film. So I'll take him in the late third.
Happy. I want to hear
what's getting roasted in chat.
What, Tash, where did Tajay Spears go to school?
Yeah, Luke Musgrave was a good pick there.
Yeah, good pick, Musgrave. That's a fantastic pick at the end of the third. To be honest, I think where is he on my big board?
He's probably a second round to
I have Musgrave 301 on my big board right now.
Did Laporta just go? I see like the orange of the tight end. I'm not in the
No, Luke Musgrave went.
No, but I'm looking at. Oh, it might just be that he's highlighted in chat at 401.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, I guess we can keep going if you guys want. I just kind of planned on doing 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, I think there might be more shenanigans if we go into the 4th round.
Yeah, I was gonna say
okay,
than actual picks.
Levels.
So we'll end the draft here. Thank you guys so much for
participating. Yeah, no, that was fun.
That was great. Definitely got some different results than if we were to just do the 3 of us. One more round. Okay, how do I start this back up? Okay, I don't know how to start it back up. I think I may have just killed it.
Yeah, you just completed it.
Oh, you just completed it.
We could talk about real quick about players that we'd want to take in this 4th round.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Skull, who are you looking for in the 4th? As I'm looking at different ones.
So I'm just gonna start listing off some players that I probably would have being drafted.
Okay.
First and foremost, A.T. Perry, I think, is someone that I would take before the 4th round. Dwayne McBride is someone that I would probably consider drafting before, and same thing with Eric Gray. I think those are 2 players that can. I think pre-draft I would have right at the end of the 3rd, if not before the 4th.
Skull, I would have taken Laporta if he fell to me. I agree with that one.
And the last one I would probably heavily consider would be Parker Washington, but I feel like Parker Washington's stock has just been dropping and dropping and dropping.
He went 307.
Oh, he did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, okay, he's in there. My bad.
Rashee Rice didn't go, right?
Oh yeah, Rashee Rice. Yeah, I would have him in there as well. So why is Sam Laporta so high? I keep saying his name.
Athletic.
I see some people on Twitter.
He's super athletic. It? I think so.
And I assume he had a good target share because Iowa's offense probably got like 4 yards, and he at least got like one of them.
Yeah, that's kind of the trap I fell into with Charlie Kohler, which hasn't panned out yet.
Well, he was also hurt last year too.
Yeah, he was hurt for the beginning. He wasn't hurt all year though. He came back like midway. So
I will say, if we were to start drafting into the 4th round, there's 2 tight ends that I think are very interesting. There's this one guy, Zach Kuntz, I think out of Old Dominion or something.
Yeah, Gold just brought him up, yeah.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he's definitely a really interesting player, and I think that he's the type of dude in the 4th round I'd like to get my hands on a share of. And there's another tight end that played for the Jackrabbits, South Dakota State, who is pretty darn good. I think he's a dude that's going to go earlier in the draft than people expect.
What about the guy from Alabama? Cameron Latu?
The chat has been so fucking funny this episode. And Hooker is the Tom Brady of rookies, old as hell. Oh, man.
All right, what about you guys? Who are some guys that you would be considering here at the end of the draft?
I think I brought some up with Rice, who I just mentioned. 4th round might be a stretch. Cameron Latu. I don't know how to say his last name. The Alabama tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a solid pick here. I'm scrolling down the board a little bit, looking around.
Evan Hall.
I probably wouldn't get him. What about?
Did Jaden Reed go? Running backs.
Did Jaden Reed go?
Oh yeah, Jaden Reed. Yeah, that's a good shout. The Michigan State wide receiver. Yeah, I was watching a little bit of him today.
Oh yeah, he is Michigan State.
I think he's a pretty solid player.
Yeah. Jaden Reed. I'm trying to check. Did Mo Ibrahim go in our draft? I can't.
No.
I'm looking at. Yeah. I consider him in the 4th round. Luca, and I don't know.
That's dude played at like Princeton or something. He's like the there's one every season. Just the super athletic like 6'4" Randy Moss of like D2 football.
Luke's saying Mo is UDFA, but like at this point, I think he gets drafted in the NFL, and I'm going to take those running backs that I think can get on the field.
So he had the Achilles injury, right?
Yeah, two years ago though.
It's interesting because he's a player that I do like, and another guy like Chris Rodriguez. I don't think he's going to be a good running back necessarily, but he's a dude that I feel like if he's the RB3 on a team and the starter gets hurt, he's the type of guy that I would just give carries to because he's just kind of a force to be reckoned with. Now, what about Kayshon Boutte? Let's start talking about the actual players that were drafted. 302. Is that? What do you think about that pick?
So, I wouldn't take him that high. I think there was a point like I know he had a super disappointing season, obviously, and I think that clearly and as it should have hurt his stock a ton. But it was just like to do that and then test as bad as he did. Like I feel like a lot of people were banking on him to at least like have some decent measurables and do like at least solid. Like he was terrible at the combine.
My problem is, and this could fall in the same area with Justin Ross, right? And I could spin the narrative about both of them, where it's just super productive, very good early on, got hampered by injuries. Justin Ross appears to be more serious, but who knows the full extent to Kayshon's, because it was once he hurt that foot/ankle, he just hasn't really been the same since. I could spin it to they can come back and be like at full health, be those kind of dominant players again. At the price of a 301, is that where I'm buying in?
No,
or 302. It's close. It's close because like if I'm comparing him to like a player that kind of like in Cedric Tillman or Parker Washington, I think I just might rather bet on the safe bets. But he's that guy where you're taking the lottery ticket there, because if he is healthy and he is like back to his prior form, like he can be a very good wide receiver in the NFL. He could be a very good wide receiver. It's just the gamble of if he's going to return to that form, which I think is obviously based on where he's been going, people are betting on that's not likely to happen.
So I think the tough thing that I find with Boutte is that generally speaking, when you have a receiver that is that unathletic, let's say, I don't think that's the right way to put it, but he tested like dog shit.
Terribly.
Right? I am willing to disregard that if you have a certain level of production, especially when you play at a good school. Don't care. I feel like Boutte is like right on that line because obviously his freshman season and he got hurt his sophomore year, right? Or did he play sophomore year?
He pushed Terrace Marshall to the bench, or not to the bench, but he pushed Terrace Marshall to where he was the more dominant wide receiver for LSU in his sophomore year, but then got hurt, which led Terrace Marshall to having a more successful season.
Nonetheless, first 2 years of his career, Boutte was phenomenal, and then kind of just fell off. I just don't know how to value that in relation to this, because I'm not. That production it's good, especially because those early years are, data analytically speaking, better than the later year production.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not, to me, good enough, especially when you hear about the off the field issues potentially, right? Because like the classic, dude, if we're hearing about them way before the NFL draft, right? Like these colleges are professionals in hiding this shit. This is what they do. I'm not even joking. This is what they do. And we're hearing about it way before these players reach it. That's never good. That's never good. I think it's just too risky for me. It's just too risky.
Real quick to adjust the draft, like mocks with landing spots. We'll do more mock drafts after the NFL draft once we see where everyone goes. Don't worry. We'll be doing them. We'll have multiple up until like through the summer and after the draft.
Next week we're going to be doing the big boards as well, which is interesting. So do you mean like taking a mock draft or assuming landing spots? Because I remember we did that way back when, 2 years ago.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting. Yeah, maybe we should do one of those, or we should have done one of those.
So our next episode's still before the NFL draft, right?
Yes.
Yep. It'll be 2 days before if we do it on Tuesday.
Hayner's going to be solid. Dude, I'm not betting on Hayner. I really don't want, especially at that pick. If you're picking him up in the fourth, fine. Like, fourths are fourths. But in the third, it's just too rich. Watson is equal Christian Watson equals Moss. Iosivas, I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think that's how you say it. Is more like Valdez Scantling. Yeah, I mean, if you do pick him up in the fourth and his career arc is MVS, that's a good pick. That's a good pick.
Yeah, because we traded MVS for a second, if I remember correctly, right?
We got lucky. Mass offer strat.
Yeah. Shout
out. All right. That honestly, this is basically all I've got. I mean, we could talk about, if you guys wanted to really quickly, like positioning around the draft. If you were, where do you think that the stronger spots to draft are outside of like obviously the top 4?
I think 108 cutoff.
I say 106. I think the drop off happens after 106.
I'm sticking with my 108 for right now. Then after 108, I think you could group. So I'm moving Addison up in this instance, right? I'm putting Addison at that 108. And then after those guys, I think the next cutoff is probably 202. I would say you might be able to fit Meyer in there. So maybe 204. I think there's a clear tier break there. So from obviously 101 and 104, I think is probably going to stay stagnant. 105 to 108, you're probably going to have that same group of guys. And then from there, 109 to 204, I think you might just have a big jumble. So I think 205 is another big tier break there. Just depends on kind of draft capital with the likes of Sean Tucker and Marvin Mims.
I also think that there's a good chance we see guys like the Mingos and the Tillmans potentially increase their draft stock a lot if they go in the second round or the early third.
We're going to have the Vilas Joneses of the world, the Tutu Atwells, Dwayne McBrides, that just Tyquan Thorntons that we just don't see coming. And then all of a sudden now they're a day 2 pick. They are going to muddy up and murky the board. So this will be very interesting to look at just a week and a half from now.
Yeah, I just think what's tough for me right now is that
Tucker Pro Day next week, chances he makes a big jump after. I mean, I just need him to test, like just have like be slightly above average athletic, and I think you get day 2 draft capital for Sean Tucker.
Just put up the numbers you tweeted out, and then you're chilling.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that's basically all I've got. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you guys for whoever participated in the mock draft.
Draft week next week.
Really appreciate it. Yeah, we got draft week next week. So we're gonna be live on Tuesday. We're gonna be live on Thursday, Friday,
Saturday.
Wait, real quick, why is improvement projected for every QB that gets a weapon except Dimes? If he gets half a decent guy, he doesn't repeat top 10.
I'm just saying he had his best season and he still wasn't a 20 point per game player. So like even if he improves more at the price that he's currently valued, I just don't think like that's like, I think he's valued to get to improve currently, because people wouldn't be buying him that high if they don't think he's a 20 point per game player.
Yeah, I think I'm with JT there. It's not that I don't really think Danny Dimes is bad. I just believe that you're investing more in a Derek Carr than you are a guy who's going to transcend and, like JT said, be one of those top end players. Waller could be a big help to Dimes. Going to have to agree. I don't know. I honestly think that Waller move is bait. I think Waller's going to have an average season at best.
He has to stay healthy.
Which I have him on one of my most contendy rosters, so I hope I'm wrong because that would be really nice. But I'm gonna have to see it to believe it with Waller, right? Like the fact of the matter is, I don't understand why Waller's outlook is so much more positive than it was anywhere else. Like, I don't really think this landing spot with New York is that astronomically good.
I mean, with Devontae Adams joining the Raiders, he's the clear alpha of that offense. Like, you're gonna have the target strong.
Yeah, but I don't care though, because I think it's fine. I'd rather have my offense be good than you be the clear top guy on a shit offense, because the only time that player has success, the clear top guy in a shit offense, is when they are Devontae Adams. Like, flip
side though, like say Devontae Adams goes to the Ravens instead of the Raiders. You don't think Mark Andrews takes a hit there?
No, not my valuation. I don't care. If we're talking about highly valued assets, I guess Darren Waller's not a highly valued asset, but not like in that situation, we are talking about highly valued assets. If someone coming in affects your price that much or your output that much, then you probably shouldn't have been priced that high to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Giants should draft a receiver, but okay.
I think Waller's price is fine though. If like, I really don't think Waller's overpriced. I'm just not as optimistic as everyone else is that Waller's going to be this stud muffin McGee for the Giants.
I seen him stay healthy. Been injured the past 2 years.
Yeah. All right. Outro once again. Whatever I said 2 minutes ago, put it now. Peace out. Thank you guys.
Thanks everyone.